Welcome to a training video on TSI Certifier Flow Analyzers. In this video, I'll go over the oxygen sensors that are used with our Certifier Flow Analyzer test systems. Oxygen sensor measurements are used to test ventilators, air oxygen blenders, oxygen concentrators, and any other device that outputs oxygenated gas flows. Both the Certifier Plus and the Certifier Pro flow analyzers can incorporate an oxygen sensor to measure the real-time oxygen concentration of gas flows in percentage of oxygen up to 100%. The Certifier Plus and Certifier Pro use different oxygen sensor models. However, both sensors are electrochemical type sensors that measure with an accuracy of 2% of reading and have an operating life of 1 to 2 years, depending on their usage. For the Certifier Plus flow analyzer, the oxygen sensor is included as part of the Model 4080-F test system, or it can be purchased as a separate accessory, which is the Model 4073 oxygen sensor kit. This kit is made up of the oxygen sensor cell, airway coupling, and sensor cable. The oxygen sensor connects to the Certifier Plus high flow module and measures the oxygen concentration of gas flowing through the module. The oxygen sensor can be connected or disconnected at any time without interrupting the operation of the Certifier Plus. To connect the oxygen sensor to the high flow module, screw the sensor cell into the airway coupling and attach the coupling to the flow module. Insert the end of the sensor cable containing the nut into the top of the sensor cell. This can be screwed in if you want. And then connect the other end of the cable into the input located on the top of the high flow module. For the Certifier Pro model, the oxygen sensor is integrated into the instrument and measures the oxygen concentration of gas flowing through the high flow channel. The sensor can be accessed by removing the bottom cover on the Certifier Pro. To replace the oxygen sensor, after removing the bottom cover, disconnect the pigtail connector, then retract and unscrew the sensor cell. When the sensor is installed at the factory, TSI will write the month and year of installation on the oxygen sensor. You can do this yourself when installing a new sensor, and you also have the option to record the installation date on the Certifier interface from the oxygen sensor screen. To install the new sensor, remove the occlusion tab and ensure that the O-ring is present on the threading. Screw the sensor in by hand, push it down into the instrument cavity, connect the pigtail, and then reattach the bottom cover. When an oxygen sensor is connected, select the oxygen concentration measurement from the Certifier's touchscreen, just like you would any other measurement parameter. In addition to viewing real-time readings, measurements from the oxygen sensor can also be graphed, and its measurement data can be logged. It's recommended that you calibrate the oxygen sensor before taking measurements to ensure the most accurate readings. The oxygen sensor can be calibrated with a 1-point air-only calibration or a 2-point air and oxygen calibration. A 2-point calibration will provide the highest level of accuracy. To calibrate the oxygen sensor, navigate to Settings from the menu, press Oxygen Sensor, and then press the Calibrate button. Follow the on-screen prompts as the certifier walks you through the calibration process. Confirm that the oxygen sensor is connected and expose the sensor to ambient air. Once the values displayed on the screen stabilize, press Continue. Note that this value is reading the voltage coming from the oxygen sensor and is not an oxygen concentration reading. You are just looking for the value to be stable. If you have 100% oxygen available, then proceed with this next step. It's recommended to use a flow rate of 4 to 9 liters per minute for the oxygen gas calibration. Again, once the voltage values displayed on the screen are stable, press Continue. Once complete, press Yes to load the new calibration. You are now ready to make oxygen concentration measurements. Lastly, I'll talk about service for the Certifier oxygen sensors. TSI does not calibrate the oxygen sensor for the Certifier Plus model, as the sensor operates external to the instrument. You do not need to send your oxygen sensor to TSI when calibrating your Certifier Plus flow modules. For the Certifier Pro model, however, TSI will perform service on the oxygen sensor as part of the calibration process. If an oxygen sensor is installed in the instrument and is less than 6 months old when received by TSI, then TSI will calibrate the oxygen sensor. If the sensor is more than 6 months old, then TSI will replace it with a new sensor and then calibrate it. That's it for today. Follow me for more tips.